everyone, Shirley here. This year, we are concentrating on not only growing your business in the federal marketplace, but managing risk in the chaos. The federal marketplace has always been a very challenging market for small businesses, despite the efforts of the SBA to open up doors through its programs. Executive orders, budget narratives, OMB memos, the FAR overhaul, contract consolidations, and the gutting of federal staff and programs have made the market even more challenging. However, that does not mean that opportunities do not exist. Despite the public rhetoric you may have heard, a careful analysis of the budget and the NDAA indicate that the federal government will be spending $1.6 trillion in discretionary funds in FY26. My name is Shirley Collier. I'm a serial entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Scale to Market, whose mission is to help small GovCons think, plan, and execute the business strategies that will allow their companies to grow profitably in the very complex and ever-changing government marketplace. Today, we're discussing how small GovCons can strengthen their strategies, practices, and organizations to compete and succeed both now and in the years to come. My special guest today to help us embrace this new framework is India Clark, CPA, PMP, and DC Client Accounting and Advisory Services Leader at CLA. Welcome, India.
Thank you, Shirley. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining me today for this very important discussion. I only briefly introduced you. Please tell our audience a little more about yourself and CLA.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to contribute to this important discussion on how small government contractors can thrive amid the evolving federal landscape. My background is in risk management and internal controls, with a particular focus on helping organizations lead through uncertainty. Recently, I've spoken on how leaders can turn volatility into advantage, not just surviving, but building stronger, more agile teams. I'll be drawing on that lens today, and as we explore strategies that can help small GovCons adapt to regulatory shifts, embrace innovation, and strengthen organizational resilience. CLA is a top 10 accounting and professional services firm, providing wealth advisory, digital, audit, tax, and consulting and outsourcing services. Within our consulting and outsourcing business line, our client accounting and advisory services practice offers tailored solutions to help our clients' business needs, whether it's assessing operations such as people, process, and technology, analyzing financials, identifying workflow demands, completing large-scale projects, serving in vital interim financial roles, or providing fully outsourced accounting functions. Our CAS business model is designed to serve our clients' business requirements effectively.
Thank you, India. Let's start with some definitions. I have heard you speak of enterprise risk management, or ERM. What exactly is ERM, and what role does it play in helping small government contractors navigate today's uncertainty?
Thanks, Shirley. ERM is a comprehensive approach designed to identify, assess, and manage risk across an entire organization. The goal is to protect value and effectively achieve objectives. Unlike traditional risk management, which often focus on isolated risks, ERM extends beyond and encompasses a wider range of risks. This approach involves continuous processes that engage senior leadership and ensure strategic alignment. ERM considers all types of risk, including financial, operational, strategic, and reputational risks. Enterprise risk management is not just a compliance requirement. It's a strategic asset. ERM enables leaders to make data-informed decisions by anticipating risks before they become disruptions. By adopting ERM, small GovCons can better prepare for and respond to the various challenges they may face, ensuring a more resilient and strategically aligned operations. Embedding risks thinking into daily operations, not just audits, allows for early identification of costs, compliance, and capacity vulnerability.
So, in talking about daily operations, explain what is included in daily operations.
Daily operations are where ERM really proves its value. For example, it shows up in how contracts are reviewed, how budgets are monitored, and how decisions are made around staffing and technology investments. It also includes evaluating vendor risk, monitoring regulatory compliance, and preparing for audit readiness. ERM becomes part of routine management meetings, performance reviews, and even how success is defined in a project. The key is consistency, using risk informed thinking, not just in crisis, but as a part of how the business runs every day.
India, this is the most important point that I would like our audience to understand today. There are many changes happening on a daily basis in how the government procures goods and services, including conducting market research, the utilization of contract vehicles, and the type and duration of contracts. We can no longer rely on option years to be exercised, for example, or for small businesses to be given preferences. Managing the risk associated with these changing policies, regulations, processes, and technologies will be critical to survival. So, India, can you give us an example of an ERM framework? What does it consist of? Who is involved in developing it? And how is it utilized on a daily basis?
Absolutely. A practical ERM framework typically involves four core elements: risk identification, risk assessment, mitigation planning, and monitoring. In a small GovCon environment, this may be lightweight and still effective. A cross-functional team should be involved, including leadership, finance, compliance, and of course, operations. Together, they identify key risks tied to business goals, rank them by likelihood and impact, and assign owners to mitigation actions. It's used daily by embedding it into project management tools, dashboards, and decision-making checklists. The framework should evolve with your business. It's not a one-and-done exercise.
I understand that. So, how would you define then the purpose and benefits of an ERM?
Well, beyond managing downside risk, ERM helps organizations seize upside opportunities. For example, identifying gaps in your capability early allows you to build partnerships or invest in talent before submitting bids. ERM gives leadership confidence to take smart risks, to grow in new areas, or weather policy changes because there's a structured process for managing uncertainty. It also supports transparency and accountability, which are critical in maintaining trust with clients, auditors, and contracting officers. Ultimately, a strong ERM function increases organizational agility, which is a strategic advantage in the federal space. A simple, scalable ERM framework aligned with organizational strategy helps maintain agility amid policy shifts, procurement delays, and labor shortages. ERM is ultimately a tool for leadership, not just for risk officers.
I love that. But the federal government is looking for innovation. So, how do contractors balance innovation, which involves risk taking, with an ERM?
I really appreciate this question, Shirley. Many assume ERM is about avoiding risk, but in reality, it's about managing it in a way that enables innovation. ERM helps contractors take smart risks by giving them a structured way to evaluate potential upside along potential downside. When ERM is embedded into decision making, it allows leaders to say, yes, this new approach carries risk, but here's how we're going to manage it, monitor it, and know when to pivot. Instead of limiting innovation, ERM creates a safe environment to experiment because the organization is prepared. It encourages strategic risk taking, the kind that's aligned with mission, resources, and capabilities. Ultimately, innovation without structure can become chaos, but innovation supported by ERM is what drives sustainable growth in today's complex federal marketplace.
I agree, India. I am seeing federal agencies asking for innovative ideas, approaches, and technologies. And small businesses are uniquely positioned to provide those. Large companies do scale very well. Small companies drive innovation. But the government is still a bureaucracy, and despite their proclamations, otherwise, they don't like risk. They don't want to fail. That's why I love today's conversation. Small companies that can combine innovation with the ability to manage risk will be in the best position to win federal contracts. Let's shift our conversation to wellness and culture. How can these be leveraged as strategic assets to retain talent and reduce burnout in time of rapid change?
Well, Shirley, in today's federal contracting environment, burnout is a performance risk, especially for lean teams managing high volumes. Leaders must recognize that employee wellness directly impacts continuity, morale, and ultimately retention. Embedding wellness into the organizational culture through psychological safety, flexibility, and transparency supports sustainable productivity. During periods of stress, such as budget uncertainty or system rollouts, leaders who model self-awareness and empathy create teams that are more resilient and engaged. Investing in culture isn't just about values. It's about operational excellence.
I agree 100%. Let's talk specifics. How are safety, transparency, self-awareness, and empathy achieved when everyone is so stressed out?
That's a powerful question, Shirley. These qualities aren't just aspirational. They have to be modeled from the top down, especially during periods of high stress. Leaders can start by acknowledging uncertainty rather than pretending everything is fine. That transparency creates psychological safety. Self-awareness shows up when leaders take accountability for missteps or pause to ask for feedback. Empathy means recognizing team members are people first, checking in regularly, and giving space for recovery. Creating structured routines like wellness moments in meetings or team debriefs after project milestones helps reinforce these values in real time. It takes intentionality, Shirley, but it's how you build trust and resilience.
India, I can give an example of a small GovCon that I think best represents this culture. They are a small, woman-owned DoD contractor in the R&D space. The CEO knows that the number one reason employees leave a company is not pay, but a lack of a sense of purpose and mutual respect. So she starts every business meeting by asking her team to recite the company's mission. It's only one sentence long, but it focuses everyone's attention on purpose. Then she found that people had a tendency to interrupt one another, and the loudest voices tended to dominate the conversation in meetings. So she instituted a game that if you interrupted a teammate, you had to put a nickel in a cup in the middle of the table. After 5 interruptions, the price went up to 10 cents, then 25 cents, then $1. It was a fun reminder that everyone's opinions are valued. She also implemented a number of other ways, including recognition awards for teamwork and problem solving, and reimbursements for wellness expenses that reinforced the culture of the company. As a result, for over 10 years, her voluntary employee turnover was less than 10%. We need to take a break. I'm talking to India Clark, Client Relationship Leader with CLA. When we come back, we'll talk about internal controls. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shirley Collier, President and founder of Scale to Market, is your host for this Growth Masters Federal presentation. Scale to Market helps businesses think, plan, collaborate, and build market value by developing and executing customized, data-driven business development playbooks, building efficient information systems, and creating high-performing BD teams. Utilizing the proprietary Davy Business Development Growth Framework, Scale to Market partners with business owners and executives to increase their company's value by achieving profitable and sustainable growth in the federal marketplace. Email Shirley at scollier@scaletomarket.com to learn more about the Davy Growth Framework and how it can be instrumental in helping grow your federal contracting business. Back now to Shirley's conversation with India Clark from the accounting firm CLA as they discuss the elements of organizational risk management and resilience.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing wellness and culture. Now let's talk about internal controls. India, what are the top 2 to 3 internal control areas small GovCons should assess right now in preparation for FY26 and beyond?
First is procurement and subcontractor oversight. With increased regulatory focus and automation in evaluations, contractors must ensure documentation, selection, and oversight practices are defensible and audit ready.
So which internal controls are necessary in this case? How are you recommending that your clients be audit ready?
Okay, for procurement and subcontractor oversight, key internal controls include documented procedure policies, segregation of duties, vendor due diligence checklists, and centralized contract and subcontractor files. Another best practice is implementing pre-award and post-award reviews and maintaining a compliance calendar tied to contract milestones. To be audit ready, documentation is critical. Not just that procedures were followed, but that they were documented at each step. I often advise clients to adopt a ready anytime mindset, meaning every file, every transaction should tell a complete story.
This is usually a maturation step for small GovCons that are pushing through to the next level of growth. I have seen this need to delegate and document when the CEO is ready to hire or expand their executive team. The CEO can no longer do everything. So, India, which other areas of internal controls are necessary?
I think the second is budget monitoring and cost allocation. Financial transparency, particularly around indirect cost rates and funding burn, is essential. Admin, tightening oversight, and potential funding disruptions. A best practice to consider, and I recommend, is for clients to implement rolling forecasts, set clear cost allocation policies, and use real-time dashboards, if possible, to monitor expenditures against budget. These tools support not only compliance, but also strategic agility when responding to funding shifts or delays. The third is data governance and cyber controls. As AI tools interface with federal data, ensuring integrity, access control, and cybersecurity becomes a core business risk. It's not just an IT function.
Cybersecurity is critically important. Increasingly, it is one of the most important factors that the government looks at when awarding a contract. What specific policies and practices are you recommending to small GovCons?
Well, Shirley, this is an opportune moment for small GovCons to modernize control environments, especially those that were built for different funding or risk conditions. I recommend a layered approach. First, start with a formal data governance policy. This includes defining who owns what data and who has access to it. Second, ensure role-based access controls and multi-factor authentication are implemented across systems. Third, conduct regular phishing simulations and cybersecurity awareness training. People are your first line of defense. Finally, document your incident response plan and test it. If a breach or compromise happens, time and coordination matter. These steps don't require massive budgets, but they do require leadership buy-in and consistency.
Leadership buy-in and consistency. Easier said than done, right? Let's talk about artificial intelligence. With the growing use of AI in procurement and contracting decisions, what are the risks and opportunities for small GovCons?
Well, we all know AI tools present both operational efficiencies and strategic risks for small contractors. So the opportunities include automation proposal responses, identifying contract opportunities faster, and enhancing compliance workflows. Risk include algorithmic biases, lack of transparency in source selection, and potential challenges in appealing automated procurement outcomes. Contractors must understand how AI is being deployed in evaluation processes and adapt proposals accordingly, including format, structure, and keyword alignment. Leaders should also prepare governance frameworks around any in-house use of AI to avoid introducing new compliance vulnerabilities.
You were absolutely right, India. And this is my area of expertise, of course. I would add that not only does the proposal process need to be adjusted, but overall business strategy, including which products and services you're offering, your pricing structure, selection of teaming partners, evaluation of contracting opportunities, the manner and extent to which you provide public information about your company, the skills of your BD staff, and their performance milestones. Procurement rules are changing. The FAR is being overhauled to streamline procurement processes. Contract vehicles are being consolidated, and contracting offices are using AI tools to find suppliers throughout the internet, not just on SAM, as they used to. And they now have visibility into pricing and labor rates across all major contract vehicles throughout the government, whereas it used to be just within their agency. So smart small GovCons are rethinking and repositioning their companies to compete and win in this new, rapid, consolidated procurement ecosystem. And speaking of smart GovCons, India, how can they turn regulatory and budgetary uncertainty into an opportunity to future-proof their businesses?
Regulatory uncertainty is often a catalyst for long overdue improvements to government structures, policies, and systems. This is an ideal time for small GovCons to reassess internal workflows, resource allocation models, and contingency plans. For example, slower procurement timelines may present a window for investing in automation, documentation, or cross-training staff. Risk-aware leadership involves treating uncertainty not as a threat, but as a diagnostic tool, revealing what systems and processes may no longer be fit for purpose. Future-proofing begins with asking, what do we want to be true of this organization a year from now, regardless of the external climate?
I love that, India. I too advise my clients on assessing the market now, not what it was or hope it to be, but what is reality, and can we peer into the future? Where is money being spent and on what? And how will the government be acquiring products and services in the future? We used to be able to rely on standard rules, regulations, and processes not changing very much, whether we liked them or not. Now, change is being thrust upon us, and it's not always transparent. We must embrace the change, think, pivot, and act. I am focused on strategic business development, and you're focused on accounting and operational excellence. We approach the same issues, but from different complementary perspectives. In summary, small government contractors must embrace new, more disciplined business strategies in order to compete for, win, and execute on government contracts. Clearly assessing the risk of business decisions across the organization, including leadership, finance, legal, compliance, and all areas of operations, including business development, service and product delivery, and human resources. But risk management should also allow risk-taking. The federal government is actively seeking new, agile operational processes and rapid systems development to solve complex problems and serve the American people less expensively. Companies that can deliver innovation rapidly and manage the associated risk are well positioned to win going forward. All of this points to the need to manage change and create a culture of trust, respect, purpose, quality, and continuous learning. Another key business strategy to win in the federal marketplace is cybersecurity. Without the appropriate controls and certifications, many times companies can't even bid on opportunities. Other areas of internal controls critical for success in the evolving federal marketplace are documentation, financial transparency, and understanding how AI is being used by contracting offices to identify suppliers and evaluate proposals. Smart GovCons are making improvements in their governance, policies, systems, products, services, and cultures to be prepared for whatever the administration throws at them. India, as we wrap up, any final words of advice for our audience?
Yes. Don't underestimate the power of clarity and communication. Whether you're adjusting your risk posture, investing in team wellness, or updating internal controls, the most effective strategies are those that are clearly defined and consistently applied. Build systems that can flex with change, not fight against it, and stay proactive. The pace of change in the federal marketplace isn't slowing down, so the ability to lead through complexity is now a core business competency. Lastly, resilience isn't something you wait to build when times get tough. It's something you embed every day.
India, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with our audience today.
Shirley, it's been a pleasure. These topics are very dear to my heart and something I'm very passionate about. I have really enjoyed collaborating with you, and I'm looking forward to continuing partnering with you.
Same here. It's been my pleasure. Folks, if you'd like to get in touch with India, she can be reached at india.clark@claconnect.com. Or you can reach out to us here at Scale to Market, and we'll make sure you're connected. This is Shirley Collier, President of Scale to Market and host of the Growth Masters Federal Podcast, signing off for now. As we close, I want to thank you for joining us today and encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn and visit our website, that's scaletomarket.com with the number 2 in the middle, where you will find a link to our webcast on the Scale to Market YouTube channel, along with our Growth Masters Federal podcast, white papers, my blog, and other links and resources. While there, please leave us a comment or suggestion so we can stay focused on what's important to you. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.